We're seeing destinations up. The number of places you can travel to is much wider than it's been for 3 years. The number of people actually wanting to travel this year, number of people last year didn't travel, so the number of people wanting to travel is greater. So actually it's a pretty buoyant picture. We're seeing families actually looking to do things that they haven't done before. The last 3 years has much been about going to places that you knew, and now we're starting to see people explore destinations that are perhaps a little more exotic, and take family trips away together, which we haven't seen before, to city destinations. So we're seeing a lot of families travel to places like New York or to Krakow for a long weekend. So really booming, I think.
At the risk of giving some of our viewers indigestion, I'll just bring up some of those, COVID years. You think about booking the flight, and then did you have some sort of policy in case someone in the family got COVID, or whether there was some sort of last-minute change, and whether you needed to have a test to fly to certain places? I mean, it was all quite challenging. And then we had, problems at airports as well with baggage. I mean, the list of issues just went on. You're talking about going to more exotic locations. Typically, that can cost more money. And we're going into this environment where the consumer is more conscious of what they're spending. How does that thirst or the appetite for going to exotic locations hold up in this type of higher interest rates, higher inflation environment?
Well, I think that the airlines and the hoteliers have put all of the capacity on the market. So, and the market hasn't yet been fully sold. So we are seeing quite a lot of availability still in destinations. And I think that's a supply-demand point of view. I also think that because there are so many more destinations you can travel to, the opportunity to fine-tune the holiday that you want to go on to your wallet is greater than it has been in the past 3 or 4 years.
There's a couple of places out there that are, I think, for very good reason, a lot cheaper at the moment. And with all due respect to my friends in Egypt and my friends in Turkey, both countries I've worked in as well, I wouldn't necessarily take the family there at the moment as well. And I know that that's controversial. I just think there is a lot of political things going on in these countries, a lot of inventory, much cheaper prices still.
That's true. But there are places that perhaps balance that a bit more. I think North Africa is coming back in. As you say, Egypt is part of that. Maybe that's not everybody's cup of tea, but places like Morocco, which has got a good balance of both beach and city, is starting to become more attractive. So there are places that are becoming available that people can look at and see whether that suits both their risk appetite and their wallet.
Yeah, risk appetite. I don't want a risk appetite when I go on holiday. I want to just chill. I want to relax. I don't want to worry about it. Are travel companies, as you say, people are getting more adventurous, are they cognizant and making their travellers aware of the risks in some of these countries?
I think so. I mean, we work very closely with the UK government and we take what they say quite seriously, and we'll make sure that that is passed on to the traveller.
Yeah. In terms of the wallet at the moment, you and I were discussing off camera, and look, we know the prices are extraordinary. You have great pricing power back again in the industry, I would suggest. EasyJet has shown it, Ryanair have shown it, I see it with BA as well. I know that they are carriers rather than travel companies as well. Do you think that you're on a knife edge in terms of this consumer? Because I don't know if the penny's dropped yet, but the consumer is roughly paying 4.5% more for its mortgage here in the UK, similar kind of levels elsewhere around Europe. When and if will the penny drop in terms of how much they've got to spend?
We're not seeing that coming through in the demand that we're seeing. We see customers prioritising their holidays over other spend, and we see them being able to use the wide variety of choice that they've got to be able to fine-tune what they can get for their wallet. I think the other thing I would say is that we are seeing smaller carriers coming into the market and introducing competition into places like Turkey and Greece, which again just keeps competition there and therefore price down.